Hello, breaking news. It's Thursday night, and that means it's time for Shop Talk. I'm Josh Olive, host of Shop Talk for Haven Comics, and we'll be right back after this message from our sponsor. Hey, everybody. It's Thursday night. We're here to have some fun. I think it's a good time for it since, it's the show and that's what we do. Looking forward to hanging out and talking some tonight. We got a few cool things on the docket. We're going to review our comics like we always do, talk about what we're reading, what we're liking, what's not working for us, what we want to see more of, where we're hoping stories are going, all that jazz. We're also going to do a little previews review, see what's coming out here soon. So we got this is unusual. I feel compelled to point it out. Previews does not normally do this. We have Darkwing Duck on the front and we have Darkwing Duck on the back. Usually you have two very different properties on there. And so it's kind of cool that we've got Darkwing Duck represented on both sides. And that makes me happy. Speaking of things that make me happy, we've got my co-host, none other than Mr. Alan Breedlove. How you doing, Alan? His excitement is palpable, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm tired. So,
first, it's the 4th of July week. I'm going to need you to put up both hands so we can do a finger count. You still all there? All there.
They're all there.
All good. Okay.
So, every 4th of July, my wife and daughter, my mother-in-law, and my niece go to Illinois to visit family. Well, the boy stays home with me, and that is our week to get like a ton of stuff done around the house. And they actually go for 2 weeks. They left a week ago yesterday, and it has been nonstop at my house ever since. Cleaning out closets, going through crap, deciding what can be donated, what can be gotten rid of, what should just be flat out thrown away because you feel bad just even donating it. I did not even finish reading last week's comics until about 45 minutes ago. What's up, Bill?
Oh, what's happening?
Sorry, there will be no pull list episode this week. I've been a little busy, and plus my cameraman's out of town. But I am curious as to what's going on with Darkwing Duck since you showed previews. The new issue did come out last week. It was a really good issue. It was a fun issue. I mean, we'll get into that here in a minute. But it seems like Darkwing is getting a push everywhere all of a sudden.
Yes, it does. Hey, look who we got. Tots! What's up, Tots?
What up, Honeymeister?
I hope you are enjoying the heck out of your brand new, very shiny, and awesome Deadpool lunchbox.
I really wished I'd put my fingerprints all over that lunchbox. No, actually, no, not on the lunchbox, but on the thermos itself.
Oh, there you go.
Yep.
Just pour some milk in the thermos and leave it sit for a few days without him knowing.
Oh yeah. But before we do get started on comics, have you been watching Secret Invasion
on Disney? I got the first episode in. I haven't been able to watch the second or third one yet.
So I have not watched the third one. I watched the second one. It's been a lot better than what I thought it was going to be.
That's what everybody's saying.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are. They're just not. It's not getting the views that they thought it would get. But if y'all haven't watched it, give it a shot. It's actually been really good so far.
From what I understand, it's a really good spy thriller.
Yeah, the first episode they were trying to set everything up, and it was kind of a little on a couple of things. Toward the end of the first episode, it seemed like they really found their footing as far as Fury was concerned. Second episode was great. I loved the second episode, even though I did not like the way the first episode ended.
Well, I have heard that the second episode is very good, so I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Yeah, and I love the movie Dune. I really do. I think that Timothy Chalamet, whatever his name is, did a really good job as Paul Atreides. I cannot wait for the second one, and it's going to be a trilogy that has been announced.
Same, yep.
I've been doing everything I can to fall asleep watching that movie for like 4 nights, and you're smiling because you and Uncle Nick were the reason why I could not fall asleep watching it the other night.
When you got a late night text, you got a late night text. That's all there is to it.
What made it so bad was my phone goes off, and I'm like, what? I'm roll over, I grab my phone, and I'm like, what's going on? And the next thing I know, it's an hour later, and all 3 of us are still just like freaking 8th graders.
Yep, that's a good description. Just like 8th graders. You're not wrong. The other cool thing I forgot to get to it because you came on and I wanted to bring you in, but we have something else really cool tonight to look at. This is from the early mid 80s, and I've got here. This is a writer's guide for Walt Disney Publications for their comic book series, written by and to writers on the stories, written by Marv Wolfman.
Cool.
So it is advice from Marv Wolfman on what kind of stories they're looking for, how they want things to go. And it's pretty darn cool. So we're going to talk about that tonight and kind of build on some of the stuff that we learned from John Ostrander last time, some of the things he was saying. And so this has information about, okay, you want to present your pitch idea to me? Here's kind of what I'm looking for in a story pitch. That kind of stuff. So really looking for, and it tells you what kind of script, the form of the script, how to keep the dialogue light, that kind of thing. And it's clearly designed for people who have not written comics before so that they can kind of approach comics from a learning how to write comics perspective. But really, really cool. I dig it. These are pretty interesting documents, so I figured we would go through those a little bit tonight and get some advice from Uncle Marv.
Let's do it.
Hang on. What up for grabs, Bill? You want to be on late night text chains too? I don't think you do.
You really don't, because that text chain the other night flat out got just a little bit weird.
Yeah, it did.
And I still claim that I'm innocent in that situation because y'all are the ones that texted me.
Well, we started it, so that makes it all okay.
You started it, so and after 10 p.m., you get what you get, and you don't throw a fit, all right?
That's fair. That's fair.
Bill is talking about the writer's guide.
Oh, is it up for grabs? No, but I could make you a copy. If that works for you.
If you were making copies, I would like a copy of that.
Yeah. Happy to. I do hate that they blacked out. He's got his direct phone number in here from when he was working there, and it's blacked out. It might actually be legible if we had, a black light to shine on it or something. We could call and see who has that number now.
Hold it up to the light above your head.
Let's see what we can do here. Oh yeah, we'll be able to make that out.
Bill says box 18, and if we've got Marv Wolfman's number, it's on.
Well, I know that can't possibly be his number anymore. This is his direct line from when he was working at that office. King Bean, buddy, it's been a long time. How you doing, man? King Bean. I don't know if that's your theme song, but it seems like it should be. But what do you want to lead off with? You want to kick it off with our review this week? There's a lot of good comics hit the pile last week. That was a massive shipment. Opening comics. Yep. Bean says let's talk about some comics. Let's do it.
It was a full store folio, and I was going to ask you. I know that like online, they're saying that there's some books that are supposed to be out this week, but they came out last week.
Yeah, there was some confusion over that because some places shipped books by accident that were supposed to be out this week, but they shipped last week. And some folks got notification they were not supposed to put them out, but some people did. And there's all kinds of things that happened. And it was a big, confusing jumble of a mess. Before we jump to that, though, you know the really cool G.I. Joe shirt I just got?
Yeah.
On the tag, this is the back of the tag. So that's cool, right?
Yep.
Well, this is the front of the tag.
Oh, no, that's cool.
You know what's even cooler? That's a sticker that peels off.
That would look amazing on my store folio.
You know, I was just thinking exactly that. Wouldn't that look great?
I still need to go through that website and look at some of those shirts.
You better, because that one I got's already sold out.
Really?
At least in my size it is.
So, I mean, it seemed like for the longest time, there was only a handful of us that cared about G.I. Joe.
Keep the spirit alive.
And now it seems like every time you turn around, there's something new G.I. Joe. Hasbro Pulse is having a hard time not selling out, which is a good problem for them.
I tell you, June was great with the new releases every Wednesday. That was awesome.
Oh, yeah, I wanted that Firefly so bad. I really did. I forgot all about it and jumped on there late the afternoon, and it was already gone. And I know you got one, and I got something for you right there.
I did get one. Yep.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I had a good week last week. I mean, that's a healthy stack right there.
You did. Let's get to it. What's embiggen you?
Right off the bat, we will jump in with, there's a big Josh. And now
boom, it's a big Alan.
Alien issue 3.
Alien.
Alien. I've been telling y'all, if you're an Alien fan, these are definitely worth picking up.
That's a sweet cover.
Yeah, Marvel is doing Aliens right. I mean, they really are. In this particular issue, we are at what they call the Keg. That is the station that's on the ice planet. Pretty much it's all breaking loose. People getting killed left and right. There was a character in this one that I think he's supposed to be a supporting character, someone that you're not supposed to care about, but he does have a pretty, for lack of a better way to put it, he has a pretty badass moment. I believe his name was Harrison. And I'm hoping that they follow along with him. Have you read this?
I haven't read it. I've got it in my pile, but I haven't read that one yet.
Okay, so he's the one who ends up with like the bandages all over his face. And he's going hunting. He's done.
Thanks, Nick.
Shut up, Nick. Or should we call you the band? Because, you're banned. But that goes back to those late night text messages we were talking about a minute ago.
Also, to when he got the Banhammer here on the channel by mistake, and then we couldn't bring him back.
Oh yeah, yep. This right here, though, they do have a way of escaping, except basically the ice breaks. The ship that they were going to escape in falls through the ice. I know I'm kind of spoiling some stuff for you. I can't remember our guy's name, but he's trapped in the ship. He's under the ice. It's like an ocean, and he sees what looks like hundreds of xenomorphs swimming toward the surface or like scaling up the surface wall.
That's not horrifying at all.
Yeah, that's not horrifying at all. And he realizes that even he says it, I can't save anyone. I want the backstory on that. I want to know how the xenomorphs ended up on this planet, frozen, underwater, all that. We're probably never going to get it. I don't know how many issues this is going to be, but if they stick to what they've been doing, we're probably looking at 6 issues and then a month or 2 break.
Yeah,
which
that's been about right.
which has been perfect for the stories that they're telling in these, because when it comes, they'll wrap up with the 6th issue. When it comes back a couple of months later, we'll have all new characters and all new victims.
I like that format just fine. That's how Dark Horse did it forever.
Yeah.
But I wish to goodness that they would name the stories. Because when you've got back issue bins full of alien books and they're all just alien 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like, how do you know which one goes with what? It's a nightmare.
Yep.
Marvel, name the dadgum story. Put something on it so people can look at it and know it's the second issue of which storyline.
Well, it's not just that. I mean, it's even when you've got them in your collection at home. If you're not, if you know, the only way you're going to know which one goes with which is if you're reading it.
Yep.
I'll be honest, when I did realize that the Alien franchise was part of what Disney purchased when they purchased Fox, I got a little bit nervous for the future of that franchise, because it's almost like, what are they going to do? Because they really did something that they've never done before. They picked up a ton of properties that only work if they're rated R.
Yep.
Aliens only works if it's rated R as far as the movie's concerned. So when I heard that they were going to do comic books, it was like, okay, how's Marvel going to pull this off? They've done a great job so far. I've really enjoyed it. I mean, it's been really good. Someone that we mentioned a minute ago, Darkwing Duck issue.
Darkwing Duck.
So we did have an appearance of Quiverwing Duck. That was awesome, seeing Quiverwing. We also got the Justice Ducks in this one, and we got Negaduck. So it was a good issue all the way around. The way this ended, though, I'm wondering if they're going to move forward with the Justice Ducks, or if this is just going to be like a couple of issues that they do. We'll just
there's no telling.
This entire issue, though, it's almost like the whole thing is filled with one dad joke after another, and it's great. It is great. I picked this up because it was a nostalgia pickup. That's why I picked up issue 1. Read the first issue and completely fell in love with it. So if you're wanting nostalgia, if you're wanting something fun to share with your kids, Darkwing Duck, it's by Dynamite Comics, which I was kind of surprised that they were doing it. But
what's happening, James?
It's been good. The art's been good. It's been fun, lighthearted stories. Or if you're just wanting the nostalgia read, grab them. They've been good. Next is
two birds with one stone, as they say. I feel bad saying that for Darkwing Duck, but
yep. This one kind of took a little bit of a weird turn for me. I don't know if it's actually over with or if they're going to keep going with it. I'm sure they're going to keep going with it, because I think it's been a pretty decent seller. As far as the weird turn is concerned, it's written by Donny Cates, so we should have known something was going to happen sooner or later. And that is Vanish, issue number 8. So in issue 8, Vanish is, oh crap, what is his name? That's going to drive me nuts now.
Well, my first question is, did Donny Cates actually write that issue? Because Ryan Stegman is taking it over for him, because he's doing he's just going through some stuff. And Ryan Stegman is taking over the writing duties as well, but he's leaving Donny Cates' name on the front.
So with what actually happens in this issue, I'm going to say that Donny Cates definitely wrote it.
Okay.
And the reason why I say that is basically Oliver, he's kind of possessed by Vanish. Our good guy is actually possessed by the spirit of our bad guy. It's weird, but it works. And at the end of it, Oliver is pretty much, he's pretty much been laid to waste. He's had his butt handed to him in a fight throughout the entire issue. There's only going to be one way that he survives, and that is if he gives completely over to Vanish and lets Vanish heal him. Well, by the end of the issue, yes, that's what actually happens. And then Oliver wins. The battle's over with. His wife shows up. She's trying to help him. There's a back and forth. And she's like, look, all you got to do is put on your signet ring, point it at your neck, and say, I just want this to be over with. I want Vanish gone. And it'll take care of the rest. Yeah, and for those of you not reading it, this is like heavy magical. Heavy magical. But instead of that, he just says, I want to vanish, and he completely disappears. Then it jumps so many months later after she's given birth to their child, and she's narrating it, and she's talking about how he shows up at night. And he's rebuilding the old school. He's doing this, he's doing that. And he watches them from outside, and it shows him, and he's like gotten skinnier, and he's looking rough, and you can tell that he's pretty much gone crazy. And when he realizes that she's not going to come out of the house that night either, he actually starts attacking the house with magic.
Ooh.
The thing is, she's put up so many charms on the house, and even she admits it's things that even Vanish and Oliver don't know about. But I'm going to have to leave the house sooner or later. I'm going to say, just based on the way it ended, it was definitely Donny Cates that wrote that, because it just kind of took this. But we had the hero that we're rooting for, that got his life back together. He saw what other people didn't see. And then you realize that the only reason why he got his life back together was because of someone that he murdered when he was a child in order to save people. And now that person it just got so twisted. I've got to say it was written by Donny Cates. I just don't see Stegman writing the way this ended. Great book, though. Definitely worth the read. And it's Stegman, so it's fantastic art. Next up, I'm going to be honest with y'all. I read this one, and I know I read it, but I don't remember a lot about it. I just remember that it wasn't as good as issue 34 and 35, and that is Star Wars issue 36. If I don't remember it and I just read it like a few days ago, there was really nothing to stand out.
It didn't stand out, huh?
Yeah, we will crack it open right quick, see if anything jogs the memory. I doubt it, but we'll see.
Meanwhile, everybody that's out there watching, pipe in with what you're reading. Let us know what you're reading and what you think about it. If you're reading something that we're not talking about, tell us what it is and why we should check it out.
And we will more than likely definitely check it out. Basically, they're making an attack run on Coruscant, is what this issue is. And the whole purpose of the run is to sneak into Coruscant, blow up the statue of the Emperor, and sneak out like a terrorist attack. That's literally what it is. Worth the read, but nothing's going to stand out in this issue. It was almost like it was a filler issue, to be honest with you.
Okay.
So we'll move on. Now something that was not a filler issue that was really, really good that we've been telling y'all about for 8 months now. Make it 9 months officially, with Fantastic Four issue number 9. This one did something that I was not expecting. The entire issue is narrated and written from Alicia's perspective.
Yep.
And I thought that was great. And before any of the smart Alex chime in, yes, there's even a page where every single panel is jet black because she's blind. And it's really, I love that they threw that in there, because she is describing what she's doing with Sue's force field. And she's describing it. And then when you flip the page and you actually see it, I think that worked very well.
I thought that was really, really effective. Yeah.
Yeah, so good the way they did it. I hope that they return to that again and write something else from Alicia's perspective. This does finish up the Zargor, or whatever the character's name was they're fighting.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to jump into Fantastic Four, jump in. If you have not picked up 1 through 9, jump in with issue 10. That it's been extremely character driven. They're back to being a family. They're back to just basically having adventures again.
Yep.
And honestly, I think it was issue 7 is where they brought, because there's been a couple of issues where Doom has been mentioned, but I believe it was issue 7 that coincided with being issue 700.
Right.
And it was a full issue of Doctor Doom, and that actually turned I think pretty much turned my daughter into a Doctor Doom homer for one issue. You're laughing because you know how good it was. It was so good.
I just can picture Bug like being. I can see her rooting for Doctor Doom. I can see it.
It was. The bad thing about it was an issue that when you understand what Doom was doing and why he was doing it, everybody should have been rooting for Doom to win in that issue.
Yep.
But yeah, I cannot say enough good things about Fantastic Four. North has done an amazing job. I really would like to see him take over Spider-Man and Daredevil, to be honest with you.
I would love to see him on Spider-Man.
Yes,
I would love to see him on Spider-Man.
I think he's one of the few that could resurrect Spider-Man and take him to where he needs to be.
Agreed.
And as far as Daredevil is concerned, where we just finished or where we're finishing up with Daredevil, it's going to take somebody like North to turn it back into what Daredevil can be. Because where we're at now with Daredevil, well, we've said it before. I think I even said it last week. Yes, it is time for Daredevil to die. And that's just based on the story. And he is dead in the story. But we'll get to that issue here in a minute. Because it's in here.
Oh, yeah.
Another one that's really surprised me how much I've enjoyed it. And this one was, the exact same way. I loved every minute of it. Dawn of DC's Green Arrow, issue number 3. So, we left off with in issue 2 with Ollie and his niece basically jumping through time again. They could not help it. They ended up in the future with the Legionnaires, and Connor Hawke, Oliver's son, is there. And he explains why they're jumping through time, why the family cannot be together. And it's literally Oliver had made a deal in order to help save the universe. And all of his family ended up with like a specialized type of chip in their neck. And whenever they get close to one another, not only are they separated by space, they're separated by time. So the family can never truly be together. And if they try to remove, and he's the only one that understands this, if they try to remove the chip, it'll pretty much blow like Suicide Squad. It'll kill them. So this is only going to be 6 issues. If Williamson's doing this with 6 issues, I hope that he carries forward. If he carries forward with Green Arrow, I will definitely continue reading it. Yes, it is.
Yep. Sadly, unfortunately, but yes.
And I didn't. September's issue of Daredevil is a 30 or 35 page issue.
Yeah.
And it's going to be like $6.99, I believe, is what I saw.
Yep.
So, but they're going to have to do a lot. Speaking of doing a lot, we've got, what issue is this? Oh, Detective Comics, issue 1073.
That was a good one.
It really was. And let me tell you what, Arugula ain't no joke. That's officially his name as far as I'm concerned. I'm gonna let you enjoy that one for a minute.
Kaylisa brought some homemade, I don't think pastry is the right word, but something like that to the shop the other day. And it was hard to understand what she was calling it because it sounded like she kept saying arugula. And I was like, I didn't know I liked arugula. This is fantastic. But it's a Jewish pastry called rugelach. But
Okay.
if you don't put the on the end of it, it's just rugula,
Arugula.
just some arugula. And I was like, man, I love arugula. This is great.
Well, technically, Arugula's name is Osmir. Um, and Batman, being Batman, does call old dude by his name, which shocks him. They've blown up Oregon. It's basically an entire smear campaign, and even if they kill people, they don't care, so they can discredit Batman. Um, this was a really good issue. Ram V is fantastic with what he's done with Detective Comics. It's, to me, Detective Comics has always had a darker feel to it, and he's done a great job with that. The secondary story is basically Osmir when he's a kid, and we're seeing how he transitioned from pretty much being a sweet kid to damn near being the devil himself. And we see how he was pushed to that direction and pretty much done that way by his mother.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of this does tie back to Ra's al Ghul and things that's happened in the past, long before Batman was ever a part of this. The Bat family is in here. You know, we've pretty much got everybody, even though they're like supporting cast like they should be in this book.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think probably my favorite part though is there's a woman that she can almost like that they call it they had a word for it, but it's like mesmerize people and make them start thinking things and swaying them, kind of like that character Psycho Pirate could do. Well, yep. Barbara, Babs, Oracle, whatever you want to call her, has basically called her dad on the cell phone, and she's like, Dad, look, do not watch TV. Do not do this. This is what's going to happen. And he literally gives a laundry list of like what the Joker's done to him, what this character's done to him, what he went through here, what he went through there. And he's like, watching this on TV is not going to bother me.
Yep.
And he was right. And I thought that was great because I think sometimes we're focused on the story, and it is a great story to focus on, but there's other characters that kind of remind you that they're there. And I think with that one little thing that Gordon said, it kind of reminded you, wait a minute, this dude's been going through hell with Batman for years. So I pick up on little things like that. I always have. Next up, it's a Mad Cave Studios. It is Exorcist Never Die, issue 3. This was another fun one because they're fighting gluttony.
Mm-hmm.
And we're at a point where they're going to succeed. We know they're going to succeed. But there's a part of you that as you're watching them fight the 7 deadly sins, as you're watching them go through the levels of the Hellscraper to free the souls, to stop the auction, to do all that, you're getting more and more of their backstory as a couple.
Which I thought was a really cool way they're telling this story.
It's
really moving 2 directions at once, right?
Yeah, and you're getting more of a backstory of why they're no longer together. But even in issue 3, you're also, I'm not going to say it's definitely happening. I'll reserve that till about issue 4 to see what happens. But I think we're getting another story in the background, and it is how they're getting back together.
Yep.
Because this was, That's
Steve Orlando is the writer on that one, right?
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
Dude's been around the block.
Yeah, and the way he's written this, it's a very complicated story, but it's a very satisfying story.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's been really, really good. This is one of those that I was looking forward to it because, you know, I like the ghosts and goblins. I like the supernatural. I like horror movies and stuff. And when I saw it, I saw the Templar crest. You know, I love Templar history. And when I saw all that, I was just kind of like, okay, cool. This is not what I thought it was going to be.
At all.
Yes, we're still getting like, you know, some heavy religious stuff. We're still getting the, you know, the demons, the ghosts, you know, the souls and all that. but it's so much more complicated than that. And these
If you
are
boil it down, though, it's an interesting world. The world building has been good, but it's a romance story that's being told in this horrific setting. So it's full of action that kind of has nothing whatsoever to do with the romance, but it's integral to the story. Uh, I have thought Steve Orlando's writing on that has been superb.
one thing that I like that they did early on in the story, and granted, yes, we're only on issue 3. But they literally faced lust in the second issue. So
Yep.
we got that one out of the way. So now later on, when we do see them end up back together, we've already removed lust from the equation. So we can't say that they got back together because of that.
Right.
So, I mean, it's just been like small things. This has been, I was expecting a good book because it was Mad Cave and it was Orlando. I was not expecting a great book. I'll be honest with you. And it's been a great book.
Yep.
Definitely need to read this one if y'all aren't checking that one out. I've got 3 more. This one, it ended. It's over with. I'm kind of sad. That is Dungeons and Dragons Saturday Morning Adventures, issue number 4. It's
That was
done.
a fun book, wasn't it? It was just like watching TV on a Saturday morning.
That's exactly what it was. If you're looking for the nostalgia feel, if you want it, I mean, it was great. And them basically ending it with Dungeon Master sitting there telling about his adventure, just trying to get the potatoes to make them French fries. It was just fun. There was nothing heavy about it, truly. It was great seeing them square off against Avenger. There's only one thing that I wished would have been in one of these books that I did not see, or we did not get any type of reference to Tiamat. I would like to have seen the dragon at least once, but if they do it again, maybe then. If you're into Dungeons and Dragons, or if you want the nostalgia read, it's just like Darkwing Duck. This was only 4 issues, though. It's over. It's done. You can grab all 4 issues. For the people our age that grew up with this cartoon, you definitely want to read this book. We'll save this one for last.
What did you think about the cameo in the new D&D movie? The cameo of the old group from the cartoon.
There's only one thing that I did not like about it, and that was when they were in the cage. Because you knew they were going to have to be the ones to get to the cage, because they're not going to kill off the characters that we grew up with. And you actually get a good look at them. I was sitting there thinking, that's just not, the costumes are accurate. I love the way they look, but that's just not what I pictured them looking like in live action.
I didn't have any heartburn with it.
Yeah, it didn't take away. Overall, I thought the movie was great. My favorite character in the movie was the Paladin. I thought he was awesome.
The straight walking Paladin.
Yeah, like you said, straight walking, and every line that man delivered, I have no idea who the actor was, sorry, but every line that he delivered was precise, dead on, deadpan. It was great. He did a fantastic job.
He played so straight, right? The character was so straight that you had to he took himself so seriously, even though half what he said was hilarious.
Yep. And then them basically calling it out when he's actually, his portion of it's over with and he's leaving. And they're like, is he going to walk around the rock? He's going to have to walk around the rock. Nope, he's going to walk over the rock. I just thought that was hysterical. I love that character. Last 2 comics, and we'll do these kind of quick. Tales of Nottingham, issue number 5. This one actually goes back and tells us how Robin met Little John. And let me tell you what, Little John treated Robin like a friggin' rag doll.
Yep.
He beat that man from pillar to post. That's just all there is to it. But the thing is, Robin never gave up. And that's where we get the England is sick, the whole thing. That's where that speech actually come from. I love Nottingham. This has just been, Nottingham has been a fantastic read. Tales from Nottingham has been fun, getting these backstories. And I think that they had to do these backstories because this story would not fit in with the main title anywhere.
Right.
And these backstories have all been one shots. So I mean, there's no excuse not to read them. If you just want a quick read on Robin Hood meeting Little John and fighting him, run to Haven or run to your LCS and grab this book. You don't need to know anything else about what's going on. It tells you everything you need to know in this book. And you got a cool little story. So yeah, these have been really good.
Tales from Nottingham.
So last on my list,
Daredevil.
issue 13. Even dead, even in hell, fighting the beast, freeing his friends, the whole 9 yards. Our boy is like, no, I'm the right hand of God. You know what? I may be in hell, but my soul belongs to him. I'm doing what I have to do, and I'm doing what's right. Zdarsky's not a writer. He's a storyteller. That's all there is to it. He's done an amazing job.
This element with Matt Murdock and he's always been a religious character, and he's always taken his religion seriously.
Yep.
But this element where it's kind of been turned up to 11 here, does he remind you a little bit of Moon Knight? Because he kind of does me.
On some level, yes. But at the same time, I mean, you can definitely tell that they're different characters. But yeah, I would agree with you on some level. Just the way he's carrying himself. Yep. I guess we could say it that way.
He is so self-assured.
Yeah.
Now, because he's had the doubt, right, forever. He's had that doubt and the creeping, gnawing doubt that always eats at him and makes him feel bad. And he has the guilt and all those things. Right now, he doesn't have any of that. He is pure self-assured righteousness.
Mm-hmm.
And not self-righteous. That's a different thing. He is self-assured righteousness, and it is powerful to read.
It is, and instead of people trying to figure out where that's coming from, Zdarsky's done a really good job of telling this story and getting us to this point, because that righteousness and the way he feels, and he is so driven. Yep. He honestly believes that he is in hell to save these people and to defeat the beast, because that's where God wants him to be.
And what did you think about that twist, by the way, with the beast?
Yeah, I did not see that coming.
I don't think anybody did.
Did not. And here's the thing about it. Even when you got that twist, Matt is like, you know what? That's fine. What did he do? He attacked. He was like, I don't care. I'm where God wants me to be. This is what I'm here to do. You may have done this, but God allowed it, and now you've got to deal with it.
And now you got to do it. Yeah, you're not. I'm not locked in here with you. You're locked in here with me.
Exactly.
So, little bit of a pivot here, because you got me thinking about these reviews and everything, and our talks about it. And we did that without spoilers, right? Somehow, some way, we did that without spoilers. And that reminded me, you got a shout out recently from AWA, did you not?
Yes, I did. From the pull list from last week, I was talking about Red Zone. And a lot of times when I post the pull list, I will
tag them,
share the link on Twitter. And, I'll just put in there, hey, this is what we're talking about, and this is what's going on. Well, AWA whenever I tag them or stuff, they actually watch the videos. And a lot of times they'll just make a comment, or there's been a couple times where I've talked to Panosian, during Black Tape. But no, this time around, AWA is like, they retweeted it, and they were like, nope, this right here, go watch it, but it is full of spoilers. Thank you. And I'm just like, I'm going to get y'all on the show. Y'all just don't know.
We got to get them on here. I'm too excited for that.
Yes. And I know that for those of y'all that feel like you missed the boat on Red Zone, you did not miss the boat
at all. The trade will be coming out in like 2 weeks.
Yeah,
3 weeks.
the trade's coming, pre-orders. I mean, whole 9 yards. I mean, do what you got to do.
All right, guess what other collected edition is coming out soon? And that's coming out hardcover first.
Oh, Deadly Duo?
Yes, Batman Joker Deadly Duo collected edition is coming out soon. And that hardcover looks beautiful, by the way.
Does it now?
It does.
So
Don't worry, I ordered you one.
Yeah, thank you.
Because it looks beautiful. But we're going to do a giveaway on the show for that. I'm planning some other giveaways here too. We are so close, y'all. We are at 471 subscribers right now.
Yep.
I think when we hit 500, we need to do a giveaway.
Works for me.
We've got some things to give away, and I'm looking forward to showing some of those off as we get closer to that number. That number could be next week. And that's not the tack. We're not adding people that fast anymore, but it could be next week. It could be 2 weeks. So y'all pay attention. Add, tell your friends, all that jazz. Make like Bernie Madoff and tell your friends.
It's like I say on my pull list videos, tell 2 friends because the first one might not listen to you.
Or tell the same friend twice.
Yeah, you could do that.
And make them listen.
And I had one more book, but I have not read it yet.
What book?
It's an ash can that ended up in my box.
Yep, as I have instructed people to put them in your box.
And it's called Schlub.
Schlub, yeah.
Schlub. I will read that and get back to y'all on that one. Like I said, I've been so busy that I was literally today, I was like, oh crap, the show's in an hour. I've still got 3 books I need to read right quick.
I got to read my books.
I got to read some books.
All right, so next up, we're going to talk through some previews because there are a lot of books and previews this month. Hey, whoa. We got Daniel Major in the house. What's happening, Daniel? Good to see you, sir. I'm going to be honest with you. I do the exact same thing.
Yeah.
I will go back. There are a handful of books I'll read the trades, but it's a rare thing. I do exactly what you just said. I will get 3 or 4 books and then I'll read them. But yeah, I don't. Buying trades is not my favorite thing. I'm absolutely with you on that.
So I can tell you 2 titles right now, Daniel. Just run up to Haven and buy the trades. And the reason why I say buy the trades is the story is so good, you're not going to want to have to put the book down to grab the next issue. That is Devil's Highway, Volume 1 and Volume 2.
So good. And
Radiant Black, Volume 1, 2, and 3. Radiant Black is phenomenal. I'm actually having to wait on Volume 4. And then
it's coming out very soon.
Yeah, and then once I get Volume 4, I'll be caught up to the point where I can switch over to the monthly releases. So then we'll start doing Radiant Black on here also. I've been absolutely shocked at how much I've enjoyed Radiant Black.
Yeah. Kyle Higgins knows what he's doing, man.
He really does. And for those of you that are not reading it, you will not understand what I'm about to say. For those of you that are reading it, this might start a fight, and I really don't care. It better be Marshall.
Yeah, Devil's Highway was great. Really liked that book.
Yeah, Radiant Black's getting ready to come out with issue 25. So that's why I'm saying just pick up the trades.
And so everybody is aware, issue number 25 was not solicited this way, and we just found out like the day that final orders were due. Radiant Black number 25 has an A cover and a B cover. That's not unusual. What is unusual is that it's 2 different comics. As far as I can tell, it's the same story told from the perspective of 2 major characters. Book A is one character, book B is another. So it's kind of a choose your own adventure to see how the story goes, but from the perspective of these 2 different characters. And that kind of thing, the blacklight covers, which I was a little bit surprised by when he was telling us about the different covers and some of the stuff they've done, the symbolism that he associated with those, and like he really thought through every detail.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't just that looked pretty and that was cool. Let's do that. There was a meaning behind all of it, and I thought that was great.
Yeah, and I know some people will be like, well, if they're doing, the same, if both of them are issue 25 and they're doing it the way they're doing it, that's just try to make some money off of it. I'm actually reading the book, and I can tell y'all that where with the story is at, it makes perfect sense for them to do this, because you would just have to be reading it. And it's one of those, if you are reading it, you're going to want A and B, just because you've got to see both sides of the story.
So what would you say about us bringing Kyle Higgins back on the show sometime?
I would love to have Kyle Higgins back on the show. Dude, he was so much fun to talk to.
He really was. And what a phenomenal writer. We can find out what he's got in store after No One comes to an end, which I don't want to contemplate because I'm really loving that book. But
what, issue 4 come out this week?
Yep.
So the thing on No One is, it's going to be, we've still got 6 more issues, and I have not read issue 4. We've still got 6 more issues to go.
Yep.
So there's no telling what he's going to do with it. I personally hope that No One is a mantle that ends up getting passed. That's what I'm hoping.
I think that's the direction that it's leading towards. So, but he likes to do twists and turns though. So what we think is going to happen may not be what happens, and however the story works out, whatever the reveal is, we'll be like, oh dang it, that we should have known, because he laid all those breadcrumbs along the way. He's really, really good at doing that. But let's talk about some upcoming previews, shall we? Some books that are coming out.
I do have the Marvel and the DC Connect.
So do I.
Mm-hmm. Guys, y'all know y'all can pick these up. Y'all could read along
for free.
Yeah.
What about Phantom Road? I have not read Phantom Road. I'm kind of with you. Lemire's not my favorite writer. He's good, but he just tells a different kind of story than I usually like to follow. So I have not read Phantom Road, but it sounds like you're kind of in the same boat I am with his work, and I'm willing to give it a shot. So we'll give it a read, and we'll report back. But all right, so let's talk about it. Right out of the gate, it's on the cover. Captain America is rebooting after 750 with a new #1. And the interesting thing is, written by J. Michael Straczynski.
Mm-hmm.
And look at that cover. He could do this all day. So it looks to be tying some of his history into the character, which I'm great with. A good nostalgic feel for a Captain America book. That's part and parcel of what comes with it. As long as he doesn't introduce some kind of a spider wasp god thing like he did to Spider-Man, I'll be okay. Now, this one, this feels so manufactured to me. I don't get it. And it's on the back cover, so we'll go ahead and talk about it now. Tony Stark and Emma Frost are getting married. If you're just desperate to have the wedding of Tony Stark and Emma Frost, make sure you sign up for this at the store. The sign-up sheet is out, and we'll get you X-Men 26 and Invincible Iron Man #10, so you can get both parts of the wedding story, and we'll just see how that goes.
See, I'm not reading either one of those titles, so I don't even understand the reasoning behind this.
Yeah, I'm with you. So let's see what other big titles we've got launching. We have, tell me what you think of this. Predator versus Wolverine, #1. It's a 4-issue limited series, I believe. 4 issues.
Here's my thing when they do something like that. We're taking, whether people want to admit it or even realize it, Predator is a beloved franchise. So we're going to take two beloved franchise characters and force them to fight. There's not going to be a winner in this fight. Something's going to happen because if Wolverine wins, they've alienated all of the Predator fans, and if Predator
He
wins,
said alien.
I did, didn't I? If Predator wins, they've alienated all of the Wolverine fans. So I'm going.
Well, you know what would be cool though is if they did have a winner, if they had the guts to have a winner, and if it was the Predator, because that would set up like a lifelong Hatfield and McCoy's kind of a thing, right?
Yep.
Because Wolverine's going to come back, and how picture that from a Predator perspective, right? They got to keep coming back here because it's like the greatest honor to kill that one dude.
That would be fun.
I mean, you could do some serious stuff with that, but of interest to me, and this kind of as long as this is an accurate representation, because the different covers have different images, so this no way of telling. But if this particular cover is set the timeline correctly, that right there is the Weapon X Wolverine, right? So that's back a long time ago, and I would love it if this was a story that was set a long time ago.
I think it has to be.
I mean, the other covers don't indicate that at all. I mean,
well, see, I just don't see the current Wolverine being able to go toe-to-toe with a Predator. I really don't. Send all your hate mail to nick@twobrothers.com. Now, I could see Weapon X being able to go toe-to-toe because he was the more feral version of Wolverine.
Agreed. Another new book coming up, Avengers Inc. #1. It's written by Al Ewing, so this is the guy who brought us Immortal Hulk. So he's got an interesting take on this. This is Janet Van Dyne, the Wasp. She's hunting a killer. There's a villain named Victor Shade. He just got killed. But somehow, together, the two of them are trying to solve the mystery. And then they're going to move on and solve other mysteries. So this is a detective book featuring the Wasp and a dead villain.
So, and this might be a stupid question, but why does Victor Shade remind me of Mr. Sinister?
Because he looks just like him. He also appears to have the, you can't tell from there, but he kind of appears to have the textured skin like the Vision.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know. It's some interesting stuff there. I'll say this, Al Ewing, what he wrote on his Immortal Hulk run earned him some equity with me. Thanks, Dan. I appreciate it. I think it does too. I'm really looking forward to it. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he does. And I'll give it a shot. I like a good detective book. Speaking of Daredevil, here's the new Daredevil #1 written by Saladin Ahmed. That looks like a old school JRJR cover there.
Yep. I do like that Laszlo cover or Lozano. Yeah, Lozano.
Yeah.
I do think that one's pretty slick looking.
Yeah, I mean, the solicit I find interesting because it's mostly just questions. And Aaron Cooter is doing the inside artwork. I like his work. He's good. Let's see. Where does let's see? Is Matt Murdock ready to take on a knockout of an adventure? Where does Elektra fit into all this? What is the future of Hell's Kitchen? Romance, intrigue, and of course, action. I don't. It sounds kind of like a cartoony kind of approach. I mean, the artwork that they're showing here for the covers doesn't indicate that. Aaron Cooter's artwork is not particularly cartoony style, and I hope that's not where the story's going. But it just seems kind of like they're not addressing the
Well,
aftermath of the
the
current
interior
story at
art.
all.
The interior art for it's on the next page.
Yep.
And I mean, it does look good. But the way it's built, it's almost like one of those old serials, that would happen before the movie actually started.
Yep.
But it does pose an interesting question. I mean, is Matt Murdock ready for a knockout adventure? Dude just died, went to hell, and fought 2 demons. I think he can handle another adventure. But to me, I think the biggest question is, where do they go with Matt and Elektra? Because they are married.
They were only married till death do you part, and he died.
Well, I thought about that, but at the same time, I mean,
Man, we're agreeing with you. We're loving what Daredevil has been lately. Just
and I am kind of nervous about Daredevil moving forward because Saladin is the one who wrote Spider-Man Beyond or helped write that. So I'm just going to turn the page and keep going.
He also wrote Spine-Tingling Spider-Man. Number 0. Why is it called Number 0? I don't know. It's a one-shot. It's collecting stories that were originally published on the Infinity Comics series on the Marvel Unlimited app. It's a $10 one-shot. I don't know.
Okay, yeah. Why? I mean,
my question exactly.
If it's already on the Marvel Unlimited app and you've got the Marvel Unlimited app, I mean, why go buy it?
Why print it? Okay. Next up, and this one's interesting. This one is very interesting. Uncanny Spider-Man, 5-issue limited series. And you say, well, that Spider-Man looks a little weird. That's because that Spider-Man is Nightcrawler.
Daniel, I agree with you, but at the same time, I kind of disagree with you. I don't think anybody would be spidered out if we were actually getting good Spider-Man stories.
People are so tired of Spider-Man crap.
Yeah, that's just the problem. We're just not getting good stories right now. Oh, wait a minute. Is that Sin Eater?
Or it just looks like it. It surely does look like it, which would be a perfect villain for a priest, right?
I would love to see Zdarsky write Sin Eater. I really would.
Oh, yeah, he would be perfect for that. But Uncanny Spider-Man, it's written by Cy Spurrier. He's a good writer. I don't know. This is very strange. On the darkest of days, he is the spark in the shadows. After the devastating events of the Hellfire Gala, Kurt Wagner is on the run and having the time of his life. Swashbuckling about NYC in disguise, the uncanny wall crawler sets aside his mutant angst and dedicates himself to the hero's life, saving civilians, hanging with fellow wall crawlers, battling baddies, and hunting down the best pizza on the planet. But he can't ignore the mutant plight forever. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, this is a joyful, sexy series that will shake Nightcrawler to his foundations and have a hell of a good time doing it.
My thing is,
what is that?
Why does it seem like everybody and their brother Spider-Man except Peter Parker?
Yep. Darn good question. That is it. For anybody who was a fan of this time period in comics and you thought there's not ever coming back and what are you going to do? You now finally, at long last, have your opportunity to get back to Rogue in Savage Land. You remember the 80s fondly or the 90s fondly. That whole storyline with Rogue in the Savage Land, we all loved it. And boom, Uncanny Avengers number 2, you're back. It's the other cover. Rogue taking on Captain America. Pretty awesome.
That is a slick looking cover.
It is a pretty slick looking cover. I will give you that. So let's see. Lots of number 2s because last month was full of number 1s for a astonishing amount of X-Men books.
Yeah, because shouldn't this Alpha Flight #1 be getting ready to ship?
Yeah, number 2 was just solicited here, so
Yeah.
Alpha Flight #1 should be coming out in a few weeks.
Yeah, because I wanted to check that one out.
Okay, we're now on issue number 2 of Nobody Knows What the Heck This Is. Classified. All we know about it is a 4-issue limited series, and for 2 months they have solicited it as nothing more than that.
Well, we
That
know
means orders for issue number 1 were due when? Last month.
So when you had to place the order, did the order literally just say classified?
It said exactly this. That's all the information I have. I'm supposed to trust Marvel that they're going to deliver something amazing that I have to have. And it's so amazing they can't tell me about it so that I know what the heck to order. This is called predatory publishing. This is wrong on every conceivable level.
Yeah, I just don't trust the modern Marvel to do that.
No. I will say this Ghost Rider Wolverine Weapons of Vengeance limited series that's starting up here, or that's coming out. The spirit of vengeance takes over Wolverine at one point, and you get the new Ghost Rider who is called Helverine. And dude looks awesome.
That does sound fun.
It looked awesome. Even the flames on his flaming skull are kind of like the Wolverine hair / cowl, right? So the flames are like, it was pretty amazing looking. I'm not gonna lie, I thought it was pretty spectacular.
So back to this, the classified one for just a second.
Yeah.
Have they even released who's written it?
Nope, not a word. Who's writing it, drawing it, who's it about? Nothing.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Okay. I mean, if you could at least tell me who's writing it, maybe then I can make a decision if I want to add it to my list for a few issues, you know?
Yep. Nope.
Because we're all the same. I mean, literally, if Panosian writes anything for AWA, you automatically know to add it to my list.
Yep.
If he does anything with them. Same thing with Zdarsky. If he, Zdarsky's right, well, I was already signed up for Batman. That's a bad comparison. But if you could at least tell me who the writer is, I would, then make an educated decision on if I want to try to read it.
Yep. I have not been reading Ghost Rider, I'll admit, but this cover for Ghost Rider 18, that is just incredible.
That is beautiful.
That is incredible. And if you get closer and you look at the detail of the tattoos that she's got, and the bones, the teeth and stuff on this necklace she's wearing, fascinating stuff. I don't know this. I guess I've seen his last name. I've never seen his first name, but the cover artist is a guy named Bjorn Barends. That cover is amazing.
That really is.
That's just a beautiful cover. It's the Stony Tart. Look at Daniel Major's comment. The classified book is the Tony Stark divorce decree. That would be hysterical. His wedding, his divorce. That's funny. All right, now guys, this one right here, Silver Surfer Rebirth Legacy. And if this one, you talk about nostalgia books, if this one doesn't hit you in the feels and make you feel like you're in 1993 all over again, it's written by Ron Mars, check, with art by Ron Lim, check. That's your duo from the 90s right there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Silver Surfer Rebirth Legacy, pretty darn cool. Little throwback in time. Here we go. There's a new Werewolf by Night #1. It does not say #1 of 4. It just says #1.
It's a one shot. If you look down at the very bottom,
I hadn't looked that far down yet.
yeah, it's a 40-page one shot for $5.99. There is no excuse not to pick this up.
It's the original Werewolf by Night, so it's Jack Russell. It's not the new guy from a year or two ago.
Yep.
And Elsa Bloodstone. I figured that's who she was, but yep.
That
her look changes a lot.
That special that they did went so well, the Disney Plus special, that I had a feeling that we were going to see Jack and Elsa somewhere, somehow again.
Speaking of Disney specials, I don't know if you saw, but you know those awesome lunch boxes we've been getting lately?
Mm-hmm.
The San Diego Comic-Con exclusive lunchbox, and we ordered a couple of them, is a Man-Thing lunchbox.
I know somebody that might want that.
Yeah. So they're putting out a couple of facsimile editions, and I think they're interesting choices. This one I don't really get because you can still get this pretty much in a $1 box if you find it. Micronauts #1. Not sure anybody's begging for a Micronauts facsimile book. Now, by that same token, nobody's probably begging for this one either, but this one made me excited somehow. ROM Space Knight #1.
You know, that one's not out of reach if you wanted to have the actual one.
No, it's not. But this is just this is one I have on my list that I want to find in the wild. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's just one of those ones I want to find it. I want to search around. I want to dig it out of some box somewhere.
I think that box is going to be at Heroes Con next year.
You know, you might be right. You might very well be right.
Damn you, Dustin Ellis.
Yeah, I've got a beef to pick with that boy. Get me all spun up for that, and then it's a year away. See what else we got here. I don't think they've got any more #1s, at least in the Marvel section. They may when we get to the new DC. Oh, they do. Here we go. They do. This one kind of cracks me up, and I gotta say, I'm kind of on board with it. Alligator Loki #1.
It got the Flynn Rider pose going.
He absolutely is giving you the smolder.
Yep.
I mean, how can you not love that? That's just fun. That's fun stuff. And I dig it. Another what if. This is What If Dark Carnage.
Mm-hmm.
So the What If Darks have looked interesting. It's written by Larry Hama. So you know you're going to read that. Speaking of just cool things, I got to say that this cover for the new Hulk book is maybe just be all the green, and I love green, but tell me you don't love that.
Yeah, I saw that one. That's one of those that I really need to consider buying just because I like the cover.
Hulk and Man-Thing. I totally dig it. Let's see. Moving on. Man, I'm so looking forward to Moon Knight 25 and the City of the Dead series. I got to tell you.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Moon Knight and Hunter's Moon teaming back up.
Oh, heck yes.
I loved Hunter's Moon. That is just a great character.
If you like Obi-Wan Kenobi, the Star Wars show that was on Disney Plus, and I know you didn't care for it, Nick, so butt out. It's coming to comics. So you'll get young Princess Leia's first appearance. Which I think that if they don't do something with that kid, they are out of their minds. Now, this is an upcoming Star Wars story that looks really interesting. Dark Droids. And it spans a bunch of titles, which I'm not normally a fan of. But if you think about it, what if all the droids went bad? What if there was a virus that attacked all the droids and they had terrible cybersecurity?
My only thing with Dark Droids is it seems like we are prolonging us getting to Return of the Jedi in this particular timeline.
Yeah.
I think it would have been great if after Return of the Jedi, they start with dark droids, and it could have been like a dead man switch, like a virus that the Emperor released just in case.
That makes sense to me. I dig that. Okay. Yeah, the rest of this is all trades and such. So that's Marvel. That's a big heaping helping of Marvel. We'll go through DC Connect real quick. It's not very big.
But they make up for it with enthusiasm.
Well, let's right out of the gate. Wonder Woman #1.
I really enjoyed 800.
The only thing I'm mad about is why start with #1. Go with 801 and just keep going. Thank you for that clarification, Bill.
Oh, gotcha.
But yes, Tom King's writing it. The art looks pretty. I dig it. This one sounds interesting to me, but I already have beef with it. This is Batman, Catwoman, The Gotham War Battle Lines #1.
What is
written by Chip Zdarsky, so I dig that. But then right out of the gate, there's already a spin-off, which is Batman, Catwoman, The Gotham War Red Hood. Like, what is this? Now, that's written by Matt Rosenberg, who I like. You've been reading Wildcats. You like his stuff.
My thing is, I love, and I know that it can be kind of a touchy subject with some people, but I loved the new 52 version of Red Hood and the Outlaws.
You weren't alone. A lot of people did.
I mean, I thought it was great. But this new version of Red Hood, he's falling short when he's on his own, as far as I'm concerned. He works better with the family.
Batman and Robin #1, written by Joshua Williamson. I'd be all about it if Robin weren't Damian Wayne. Damian Wayne just drives me up a wall. I don't like having to root for somebody that I want to just smack around.
Well, we're also going to have to see how Josh Williamson writes him in this. Because sometimes Damian works, and other times I'm like you just got a punchable face. I just want to just tear into him.
Well, he's just a smart aleck who's begging for you to like tie him up and put him in his locker.
Yep.
Which I've never done. I just have a visceral response to Damian Wayne. I can't stand that kid. Here's an interesting one. We're coming back with Birds of Prey #1. Big Barda is a bird of prey now? What?
Zealot's right in there behind her.
Yeah.
And see, here's the thing about it. When you look at, and nothing against any of these characters, because I do like some of these characters, Zealot does not need to team with any of these characters.
Ever.
She can handle it herself.
Could not agree more. No, I could not agree more. Okay, so we're doing the same thing with Flash that we're doing with Wonder Woman. You get to number 800, and then you start over with a new #1. I have to say, and this really bothers me, tell me if this bothers you. The Flash, I've never been a fan of the Flash. Like, he's okay, but I've never loved the Flash. But Mike Deodato Jr. is doing the artwork on the Flash. And I absolutely love Mike Deodato Jr.'s artwork.
Well, here's my thing on what's fixing to happen with the Flash. And I knew absolutely nothing about what was going on until Bill sent me an article to check out. And I will be signing up for the Flash because moving forward with this, what is it, 801 basically? What is that it?
Yeah. Well, it's just it's new #1.
Yeah, this new #1. Yeah, like Bill says right there, it's going to become horror themed. And they've even admitted we're going to see him interacting with characters that he's never interacted with before. So I want to see how they're going to do that. I think that that's an interesting concept for that character.
I will give you that. And again, Mike Deodato Jr.'s artwork is stunning. Always, it's just exquisite.
Holy crap.
What?
If you go back one page to the Wonder Woman solicitation,
Yeah, Daniel St. Pierre's artwork.
yeah, no, well, #1, that's beautiful. But did you see the Art Germ variant?
Yes. Tom King actually posted that on Facebook today and said, "I bet this one's going to sell out."
Yeah, that's and sorry, the picture's too small. This is one of those y'all should pick it up so you can check it out. That is beautiful.
Continuing on with new series launches, Power Girl #1. She's getting her own epic ongoing series. Um, Pretty, punchy, and powerful. After the events of Night Terrors, a long dormant Kryptonian threat has returned to take down Superman and his family. Who could possibly stop it? Well, according to the Man of Steel, it's Power Girl. So, Power Girl it is. Next, we have a series I don't really get. It's a raucous comedy from rising star Joanne Starer and Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur co-creator Natasha Bustos. So this is a comedy book. Fire and Ice, Welcome to Smallville #1.
You know, when I first saw that, you know what the first thing that popped in my head was?
What?
We're revisiting the 90s. It's Fire and Ice.
Oh, well, definitely. With you there. I don't know if they're expecting the movie to do something. I'm not. But Blue Beetle getting a new series. Jamie Reyes. On top of that, Jon Stewart is getting a new series in Green Lantern War Journal because Punisher War Journal was such a success.
So, how do these DC titles tie into Dawn of DC? Is this part of it?
Um,
Or does Dawn of DC end with Night Terrors?
that's actually a really good question. It's not supposed to.
Because it's been
Um,
great so far.
because Night Terrors interrupts Dawn of DC from an editorial standpoint, which makes makes no sense to me. Um, Night Terrors happens right in the middle of Green Lantern. Right, #3 just came out, but then we have 2 months of Night Terrors,
Same
and then
thing with
#4,
Titans.
#5, and #6. Um, so yeah, it's just Night Terrors is interrupting everything. Um, Now here we go. I don't know if you guys know the artwork of Raphael Grandpa. Looks like Grandpa, but Raphael Grandpa. Batman Gargoyle of Gotham.
Nice.
And if you look at the art, which is probably too small for you guys to make out much of it, that's his style, and it looks gorgeous. His style's got a little bit of Frank Miller in it, which I don't love. It's the element of Frank Miller I don't love, but he executes at a whole different level. He's a pretty impressive guy. Last Days of Lex Luthor, Riddler, Static, all this stuff. We're out of new books at this point and just on to continuations of series. So that's Marvel and DC. We don't have time to go through this whole book because this book has got a ton. You guys know our sign-up sheet at the shop is normally one solid sheet. This one is more than a page and a half because of just the sheer volume of books that are coming out that we thought warranted, and still not all of them, but it's ones that we thought warranted going on the sheet. I'm afraid to ask, Nick, what I am afraid to ask. We'll go over this one next week. There's still plenty of time to sign up for things. This week, I still want to devote some time while we had it to talking about this. The
Yes.
Disney Adventures Writer's Guide by Marv Wolfman for Walt Disney Publications. Oh, no. Guess what? Chicken butt. Got it. All right. Aside from trying to figure out
Don't
what
let me text you and make it weird,
what's
Nick.
blacked out here so we can see what phone number this is for Marv Wolfman, let's talk about this a little bit. I am going to, it's not much of a visual aid. I might occasionally flip it around to show you guys, but I'm going to just read you the opening bit, right? He says, and again, this is Marv Wolfman, who was the editor at the time. He says, "Welcome to Disney Adventures, a digest-sized magazine featuring comics and articles. I thought rather than trying to go through the guidelines with all our new writers, that I'd type up our thoughts in a probably not so brief series of ideas. If you need any information beyond this, feel free to give me a call any afternoon after 1 p.m. My direct line is blacked out. We will be dealing with the Disney Afternoon TV block of characters. That is, and this point you can tell how early this was in Disney Afternoon. That is DuckTales, Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers, and the new show Tailspin."
Love it.
The new show Tailspin, right? Each comic series will need stories in 8, 16, and 24-page lengths. This means we will need stories to fit all three categories for all three series. So what are we looking for? As the name of the magazine indicates, we want heavy action adventure stories utilizing the Disney characters. We do not want sweet, smarmy, or sentimental stories. Bah humbug to those. We are looking for fun, adventure-filled stories with action, thrills, inventive traps and escapes, and weird, bizarre stories. Many of the scripts that are still being submitted are quieter stories, so please go for a good, solid action in a humorous Disney style. Remember, much of Snow White to Sleeping Beauty to The Little Mermaid is good adventure. We do need to have a humorous twist on all the stories, a certain sense of whimsy, and the feeling of fun cartoons, but they needed to be blended with seat-of-the-pants thrills. The stories need to have a personal bent to them. Scrooge might not bring his DuckTales cast into an adventure for the sake of adventure, but he would if he needed to regain a personal treasure that was lost, or to add to his collection, or to make that extra squillion bucks. You get the idea. And then it says we're looking for stories with great imagination coupled with good character and humor. Our characters need to stay in character, and the characters might propel the stories in directions you might not normally consider. If there would be a similar plot point for Rescue Rangers and DuckTales, for example, which is somewhat doubtful, Chip and Dale would not solve the problem the same way that Scrooge would, and neither would he handle the situation in quite the same manner as Baloo. The characters should make each story different. Hence, think large, think dynamic, think hairpin turns and cliffhanger action and suspense and tension, all undercut with Disney humor. So that's what they were looking for. That's what they're looking for. And then he says how to present your ideas. So if you're going to make a pitch, how do you need to do that, right? He says, I'd like to see rough story concepts. These do not have to be completely thought out plots, but they should have a solid beginning, middle, and end, along with some indication of a twist or two. Good stories don't just go from A to B. They go in one direction, then logically veer off in another just when you think you know what's going on. Then they may change direction a second or third time just to keep up the excitement. The stories should keep the readers in suspense. Will our heroes survive? Will our heroes succeed? How long should the concept be? So you're trying to pitch him a story, and he's told you he doesn't want it just to go from A to B, right? He wants some twists and turns. How long should the concept be? A paragraph or two. Enough to let me see where you're going without added detail. As an example, take a look at the concept below. I wrote this for a 26-page DuckTales story. Now, he says a paragraph or two, but then he wrote 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 paragraphs. So he broke his own rules to give them an example. Now, granted, they're short paragraphs, except, well, some of them are. 1, 3, 4, and 6 are pretty long. Yeah, it says this short synopsis of the story, complete with beginning, middle, and end. When I wrote the script, I greatly elaborated on the action, moved things around, added all sorts of twists and turns, etc. More importantly, this gives me all the information I need to know about the story. Uh, I can read you guys the synopsis if you want, but you can save the mystery to find out what was this story.
So, does it involve Don Carnage?
It is a Scrooge McDuck story featuring Scrooge's arch rival Flintheart Glomgold and Magica Dispel.
I need a return of Don Carnage. You said Tailspin, and it sent me down that route.
That's true. When you have an approved plot, and if you are a new comic book writer, I will ask you to do a page-by-page breakdown of the story. Essentially, this will take your plot and lay it out for me in paragraph form, detailing the 4 to 6 panels that will appear on each page. These details can still be somewhat rough, but by this stage you should know what your action is going to be. And then he provides an example of that. Let's see. I want to see general pacing and movement throughout the story. This enables both of us to see if the story fits in the page length requested and how exciting the story actually is. As a writer, it lets you look at a page before you've committed too much work to it to see if it's interesting, moves the plot and characterization, is funny and inventive. Sometimes an idea sounds good but doesn't work when you commit it to paper. Remember, think visually. If a page is nothing more than talk, you need to do something to change and fix it. What is the visual center of each page? So now you're getting into some of that stuff that Howard Chaykin was talking about, right? How do you use the page? Right? This is your medium. How do you use it?
Were they trying to, and I was sitting there trying to think about it. So, and I did have to look it up. I'm not randomly pulling this fact out of my butt. Tailspin came out in 1990, and he mentions the new show Tailspin in there. I don't really recall, were they trying, or did they take some of those cartoons then and turn them into comic books?
No, they were all new stories featuring the characters.
Gotcha.
No, all new stories. When we approve your breakdown, you'll be asked to go to script. Everyone seems to write scripts differently, but here's a format I found that works best for me and seems to be clear for artists. Remember, most of the artists working on the magazine work out of Italy or Argentina. So there's an interesting factoid. Keep the language of the art descriptions easy to understand and to the point. Do not put in a lot of idioms or in-jokes because they may confuse the issue. If you have references to movies, TV, or whatever, try to enclose a Xerox of whatever reference you may want. If not, let's hope that the artist has seen the movie. Let's see here, because this is digest size, so this is smaller than your average comic book, right? So you can't have 9 panels per page, which used to be the average. This is 6 panels per page max. And then he lays out what that would look like. I'll embiggen myself again so you can kind of read it.
Now, that's what he's talking about as far as a script is concerned?
Well, this is the format, right? This is how you tell them, this is what you need to put in panel 1.
Gotcha.
Panel 2.
Because I've always, when we actually talked about it at the shop, it was last Saturday, the whole scripting process of scripting a comic book kind of confuses me.
Yeah, well, he gives you a little breakdown on how to do it here. So yeah, he has the dialogue here. He has a description of what the panel is going to be. If there's a caption, he says don't use a lot of captions, so use them sparingly. And then he says to number all the word balloons so that the artists know where they go. Because as we've seen from what Justin Birch does, he gets blank pages, right? Where they have the art on them, but they don't have word balloons already drawn in. He has to decide where it goes and all that. So some interesting stuff there. And then he has an interesting little bit here. This is differences between comics and animation. He says many of you will be working in comics for the first time. Comics and animation, although similar, are quite different in approach. In writing animation, you think in terms of continuous action with many visual gags thrown in to fill time. In comics, you are using a series of unmoving images that are chosen because they are visually the highlight of each action, whether in battle or simply talking. Choose each panel carefully to forward the story and characterization. You do not have space to waste. If a panel does nothing to forward the plot or characterization, remove it. It's not necessary. Think of each page as an entity. Each can be complete scene or force you to turn the page to the next one. Also, think in terms of how much action is on a given page. A page with lots of big things going on can have fewer panels than a page with two characters talking, while doing something else, of course. It's never a good idea to remain visually static. And then he has this, which is good. Comics can shift scenes instantly or for only one or two panels. We can move ahead or backward in time, unlike animation, with a caption that simply reads later or the next day or whatever. Then he talks about setting up the stories, keeping the action hopping, changing scenes, and how often you need to do that. And then making sure that you write it for the audience. And I thought this was really good. He says most animation series are for 2 to 8-year-olds. That's quite a range. And then he says the Disney, but he's talking about comic. He's talking about cartoons, not the comic, right? And then he says Disney Adventures, the comic, is for 8 to 14-year-olds. Don't underestimate them, but don't ignore charm and substitute adult skepticism either. I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, because let's just be honest. My kids are getting out of the cartoon phase when it comes to Disney cartoons. But I got no issues whatsoever sitting down with a cup of coffee on a Saturday morning and watching Big City Greens.
Heck yeah. And then he talks about how many characters. He says if you only have an 8-page story, that's a perfect place to focus on 1 or 2 characters. Like, don't give me this big thing in 8 pages if it's just a bunch. If that's all you've got. It's really interesting. I read a lot of it, but there are things to know when you're writing comics and things that you want to do. Things you don't. I just really thought this was some good stuff. This is the same document, but slightly different. Very slightly different. So I'm going to have to read them and do a kind of a side-by-side. But yeah, this is Marv Wolfman telling people, hey, you've been working on cartoons and you're working with artists in Argentina and Italy, which I find interesting that that's where their artist pool was coming from.
Especially at that time.
Yeah, because there was no internet really then, not much of one.
We know when, oh crap, what was his name? It was Matt something. He went to Butler High School. He ended up drawing X-Men. I cannot think of his name. He worked for Marvel during the 90s. He went to Butler High School. It's a really nice guy. But I remember talking to him one time at Comic Corner, and he was talking about, like, I think he was inking at that particular time. And he was talking about that the pages would come to him in a FedEx tube.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're now, even with you being Disney and you're dealing with artists in Brazil and
Italy and Argentina.
Yeah, Argentina and Chile and Italy, you got to be raking up the freaking shipping costs.
Oh, for sure. Now, here's another fun thing I just got. The Marv Wolfman writing guide and this I both got. There's a guy who did a lot of work in Hollywood for a lot of different studios and things, retired to Texas, getting way on up in years and needed to sell off a bunch of stuff to pay some bills, and he had some incredible stuff I couldn't even begin to afford. But I managed to get these couple of things, and this one is just for fun. This is the reference book for Muppets Tonight, which was a Muppet series that they tried to make a go of in the 90s. Now, it's full of reference photos and things. Like here's one of Kermit, and it still has the post-it on there saying this is a bit chunky looking to me, too much gel, but another type of lighting on top. And I think the jacket makes him look a little wide. But there's just pictures in here of everybody. There's Sweetums, there's Miss Piggy, there's the band, and this is just reference material. Like this one, for example. These are some of the clothes, the colors and the clothes and stuff that the Muppets would be wearing. This is just fascinating behind the scenes stuff. Really, really interesting. So, in addition to the photos, though, here's the book, right? There's the premise, Muppet Show Tonight, what it's going to be, or Muppets Tonight. There's more artwork in here, all kinds of things about what the show was supposed to be. And I'm just going to read some of the highlights because these made me laugh. For some of the regular skits, and these are all updated to the 90s, right? But regular skits they planned for was the Bay of Pigs Watch. So you got Baywatch, starring Champ Schwimmer and Pamela Henderson, which that's funny. Pigs in Space, Deep Dish 9, The Next Generation. They were certainly going to do Tales from the Vet like they had always done. E-I-E-I-O. The Eagle's Nest, Sam Eagle was going to have an extended role, kind of as a Stephen Colbert kind of a guy. This is a fun one. They were going to do a regular skit of NYPD Green. So they were going to do a Muppet send-up of NYPD Blue with Kermit as Detective Amphibowitz. That's hysterical. I love that. Statler and Waldorf will appear once or twice on each show, more or less in their traditional heckling role. This time, however, they are in an apparent old folks' home, seated in wingback chairs in front of the TV. Occasionally, a nurse or another old folk appears, as well as spillovers from the actual show. They had big reasons, or they had big plans for Gonzo. They wanted to develop him as the one who finds talent and performs outrageous stunts when needed. And he is on the show more and more as each episode goes on. Jacob Harris, how you doing, man?
Oh, that's the boy. That's mine.
The boy,
Yeah,
live and in person. Rizzo the Rat is on a lot. So they plan to use him a lot. Rolf, not on that much. Okay. Bunsen, Honeydew, and Beaker will always be around. They are in the Martin Short and Michelle Pfeiffer shows briefly. Swedish Chef will also be around, just not that much. And then they talk about new characters that they intended to be adding. Clifford, not married, but he has a girlfriend. He will probably remain an off-camera character, but they have a whole backstory here fleshed out for him. Bobo is a bear, much more so than Fozzie. He's a lot bigger and bearier than Fozzie. Poodle Pants. And I love this, who might be phased out. They already thought this character wasn't going to work. Like, right off the bat, they thought this character wasn't going to work. It's like, what is that? Pepe the King Prawn was going to be here. And, okay, Spamela Pamderson, or Spamela Hamderson, was not going to be played by Miss Piggy. That is, in fact, a new pig lifeguard on the Bay of Pigs watch. And then, interesting note, so far, she is the only new female character.
Does it say why they never moved forward with that stuff?
No, this was just their plans to do it.
Hmm.
They intended to have a new band instead of Electric Mayhem. They had a new band, a Zydeco band. But the band was not yet named, and there is not much information on them yet. So far, the Pigs and Bobo are the characters that are emerging as favorites. The rat characters are also doing well as filler between scenes. This is just interesting stuff. Like what? And there's images of all of these guys, the new characters. What did they look like? All that stuff. Um, I don't know. I'm a big fan of the Muppets. They always make me laugh. So it's always good to see more Muppets. And you see what didn't happen with them is about as interesting as what did. So if anybody ever wants to look at this, just let me know. I'll bring it up to the shop. Folks can give it a look, see what might have been with the Muppets. I have to say the idea of Statler and Waldorf, because the theater, the way that they used it in the 70s when the Muppet Show was on, was not the way people went and did things in the 90s. So the fact that they replaced that by putting them in an old folks home and they're just sitting there watching TV in an old folks home, I thought that was pretty funny. Oh, the Muppet Haunted Mansion movie is very, very good. I agree. I really enjoyed that one.
Well, I still haven't watched the Muppet Haunted Mansion movie.
Oh, you need to. It's good.
What do you think about the new one that's coming out? That's not.
It looks really good.
I'm probably going to get some hate for this, but I enjoyed the Eddie Murphy Haunted Mansion movie.
I did not. Definitively did not.
Madame Leota was great in it.
Yeah, that was a very, very small piece of that movie.
It was, but I mean, I was entertained.
All right, this has nothing whatsoever to do with comics or the Muppets or anything, but it's the kind of weird thing you can get your hands on when you're a comic book show.
Hang on a second. I need to address this. When you actually do something worthwhile, and it's not just involved eating all my food at the house, or laying up and playing video games.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, the boys are down at Jackson's tonight gaming, so.
Well, I'm glad they're doing something productive and watching this. Anyway, this is the kind of thing you get your hands on every now and again when you own a comic book store. This kind of stuff walks in the door periodically, and you kind of can't turn your back on it. You've got to pick it up. You got to. So this is the souvenir book from the 1934 World's Fair in Chicago.
Oh, no, that's cool.
Look at that. And the condition of this book, I mean, it's not going to be a 9.8, but you get a 9.4 out of it.
Huh. You know, like I said before, it always makes me wonder, where's that thing been hiding all these years to be in this condition?
Lord only knows, but 1934 World's Fair in Chicago, and this has just got some incredible stuff in here.
Hey, look at this. They trying to be funny now. So here's my response to that. If the yard's cut by the time I get home tomorrow, I'll feed you and Jackson pizza tomorrow night.
Ooh, Gauntlet Throne.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Or you could just go to Haven on Saturday. There'll be pizza up there.
Wait a minute.
What?
You saying that?
You know, it's true. We almost always have pizza. It's a 7-year-old's birthday party every Saturday.
No, but you saying that automatically made me revert back to what Nick said in that one message on that one thing that we had going on the other night.
Oh, good Lord.
Because he did say, and he'll probably even order pizza if you're there.
I forgot about that. I guess he did. Guilty as charged. We like our pizza. But this has pictures of all the various halls and things that were there in 1934 at the World's Fair. It's got a fair number of photos, but it's got the different pavilions with the different countries, including the Swiss Village.
Why did they stop doing the World's Fair?
Because they built Epcot.
Oh, okay, good point.
I mean, Epcot is a permanent World's Fair. It's what it is.
Yeah.
But the Sinclair exhibit, look at this, dinosaurs.
Cool.
That's what they thought the dinosaur looked like in 1934. That's pretty cool. The Texas Company thermometer. I'm not kidding you. That giant building over here.
Yeah.
Sorry, wrong one. This one.
Yeah.
That is the Texas Company thermometer. That is a giant thermometer.
Okay.
They built a big freaking thermometer. Lord have mercy. That's funny. They had an old sailing ship. Pictures of the fountains at night all lit up. Pretty cool. The Streets of Paris exhibition, which also looked like a cruise ship. That's interesting. But I mean, how do you say no to this? I mean, this is the cool. Oh, wow. 1934. Holy smokes. I just want to see if you guys can read what that says.
The living. I really can't make it out.
Come on, camera, focus.
Okay. Infant incubators with living babies. Okay. They were into some wild stuff back in the 30s.
Wow. Incubators to keep preemies and stuff alive were so new that they were exhibits at the World's Fair that you can go and see babies in incubators.
I didn't.
It's pretty amazing. There's an Italian village. There's the Hungarian Bazaar with flying turns and Pantheon. So the Hungarian Bazaar had a roller coaster. The Tunisian village, the Spanish village, the American colonial village. Merry England. Looked like a giant castle. Oh, Lord. Again, I'll see if you guys can read this.
Okay.
But the wrong way. There's Merry England. Just a big old castle. That's funny. Edwards Rancho, Fort Dearborn, Lincoln Group. Let's see what else we got in here. This is all kinds of stuff. This is just like the slideshow before they had slideshows that you could just take home. So you wanted to see, you show everybody this is I went here and I went here and we did this and we did that. But what an amazing thing. The Ford Motors Pavilion. Look at the Ford Motors Pavilion.
That's kind of cool looking.
That's massive. And then the Ford Motor Pavilion, they actually had an interior view. They took 4 pictures inside the Ford Motors Pavilion. And then they had a picture of it at night, just for fun. And then the Chrysler had to have their own too. Look at that. Just really fascinating. General Motors has theirs. Okay. You read what this is and then see who the
Red Crown Animal Show Standard Oil exhibit. So I know Standard Oil was like an oil company way back in the day.
Right, but why the animal show? That seems weird.
Yeah.
There's various modes of transportation. Wings of a Century. The Pioneer was a really wackadoo looking train. I'm not sure what's up with that. The Lion of the West is a boat, but on train tracks. The Nash exhibit.
Where did you find that book at?
It showed up at the shop. Old collection, somebody was saying. Well, yeah, look at this boat on train tracks. Got to get it to. Come on, you can do it. It ain't going to do it. Oh, well. You have to trust me. That at the bottom is a boat on train tracks.
Hey, y'all have fun tonight, and if you need me, go tell your dad. Leave me alone. I'll be at the house if you need me. Just don't need me.
Picture of the fireworks over the lagoon. There's an orchestra playing. There's the Mexican village, the Dutch village, the streets of Shanghai, the horticultural gardens, the electrical building, because electricity is pretty cool. And then the social science group, the armor building. Maybe that's Armor Hot Dogs. I'm not sure. Armor Hot Dogs.
I gotta be honest. Hopefully they're gone. I love them two kids. Those are my boys. Jacob and Jackson have grown up together, and I hate that they're getting older. It's tearing me up.
That happens.
The Doodle Bug?
The Doodle Bug building.
Why does the Doodle Bug building look like a giant cigar on the water?
I'm guessing it's a caterpillar. I don't know what that is. That's something.
I think Doodle Bug might be my new nickname for Nick.
That could be. And then there's a Midway. Oh, that's not creepy at all. Entrance to Enchanted Land. Giant toys.
Now, see, I would love to go see something like that.
Look at how creepy that is.
That is something that you would see on an episode of Scooby-Doo as a roadside attraction.
That's something you would see in a nightmare.
I bet if we looked around...
In that giant wagon? Are you kidding me?
I bet if we looked around, we could find red herring in that picture somewhere.
Hey, you're probably right. Ugh. That is just horrifying. And then here's a bird's eye view looking south from the West Sky Ride Tower. So there's the whole thing all in one shot.
Now, where was this one at? The 1934? Chicago?
Yep. 1934. So 89 years ago.
That's nice. I would definitely hold on to that one.
Oh, for sure. And it's in such good shape, too. That's just really cool. Kind of took a weird tangent there. I know. I apologize. But I thought that was pretty cool and that you guys would be interested in seeing that. But you talk about, that's one of the things we talk about pretty regularly on here, right? You're holding history in your hand, right? And that was history. That was history. My grandmother would have been 13 years old when that World's Fair happened.
Yep.
Just incredible. I wish she were still around. I could show that to her. Because I bet you she would have memories of that. I mean, that's the height of the Depression. But something like that, I'm sure she would remember.
I was trying to. I think my mom was born in the 30s. You know, my parents
had you very late.
Yeah, my parents were in their 40s when they had me. Yep.
Wow. And then look what they got.
Yep.
Fantastic.
Uh-huh.
Well, man, I think it's about time to close her down for the night. You got anything you want to say to folks as we wind her down and head out?
Yes. This actually, hey, look, we're going to do this right quick. I should have had this already pulled up. Next week is 7/12.
Yes, it is.
All right, so I'm
Well,
scanning.
7/13.
Well, I'm showing 7/12. Huh? Okay, that's just it's got 7/12 as far as the date that the books come out.
Yes, that's New Comic Book Day. Yeah.
Yep. I'm scanning. Yeah, I've definitely got stuff coming out next week. So, but I will say this, since the sign-up sheet is up there, y'all have heard us talking about AWA comic books. I don't know if they're on this particular sign-up sheet, but there are 2 books coming from AWA. One of them is definitely horror-driven, and the other one, I think it's going to be kind of a cross between horror and superheroes. But from what all I've read, y'all need to check out The Madness
by J. Michael Straczynski.
That looks great, and the other one is going to be The Red Ribbon Queen. Those are 2 brand new books coming out, and I believe Sons of the Salt and Sea come out this week. Issue number 2. It is not too late to jump on that. Those are my 3 recommendations.
Yeah, those were actually in last month's previews, but it's still not too late to sign up for it.
Oh, I didn't notice this. There's a book coming out next week, The Rocketeer in the Den of Thieves, issue number 1.
Yeah, The Rocketeer, man, the last book they did with Rocketeer looked really good, and this one does too.
That one shot they did was really good. I think I'm definitely going to have to pick this one up.
Yeah, be sure you get on the list for it before it disappears.
Yeah, y'all tend to do that crap to me.
It's because they love you.
Hey, look, I'm just glad that just means they're listening. So
that's true.
Yep.
That's true. Well, guys, check out the shorts every day on the channel because he put some great ones up. Today's short is freaking awesome. We've got both sides of the Thor and Silver Surfer statues now from the cover of Silver Surfer number 4. That is awesome. You need to check that out. But watch the shorts every day. It's less than a minute long, and they're always fun. So like them, share them, do all that stuff, and enjoy. Read some comics. It's great stuff. And we will catch you guys next time.